learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in April 13th, 2020, and the stock market has already gone crazy. I know you were expecting me to tell you it's going to go crazy, but it's already happened. So I hope you guys are ready because we have a lot to talk about with this week. A bunch of new things have happened, both from a psychological perspective with everything that has been affecting the markets and where we're at. We got an OPEC deal. We need to see how that is going to play out. And then we are going to get the first week of earnings with the bank stocks. And this is going to have profound implications as far as earnings go. And we even have an update with our strategy and how we plan to move forward with all of this. So I posted some videos over the weekend. Hopefully you guys got to check that out. Oh, happy Easter too. But I hope you guys are ready for tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about. So I break that down, got the keys, got the plays, got everything strategy that we need to look for, as well as what main events are going to be happening this week and even next week as well too. So let us get right into it. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays. You can see the plays. You can post the info, chat, anything. All we ask is you are positive and respectful. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watches below. Let us know what you're looking at. You got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below. What do you have for earnings? That is what we need to share. I got a couple plays to share with you guys, so I hope you're ready. So let us get right into it. As far as the keys, the number one thing we're going to be watching for tomorrow or this next week is going to be earnings. And I want to make a lot of free plays and then pretty much just wait for the setups, try to make them as free as soon as possible, get free plays coming into earnings, and then balance out the plays. The name of the game is going to be straddles or strangles, excuse me. So we're going to be playing a lot of earnings both ways. However, now with everything I'm saying from a strategy perspective that we've talked about, I do want to slow down on the plays. Usually I've been very, very liberal going for a large amount of plays. You go 1 for 5. If one of them hits 500%, you break even with the 20% success rate. That is usually good, but with what we're seeing here with the market, the volatility, I think this earnings season is going to be very important. However, we have to really, really pick and choose. So coming into this earnings, I want to try to get them as free as possible, but we really got to pick and choose. Now, as far as the market and what to watch tomorrow, we're going to just be getting, data is slowly going to be trickling in, but there's two things I would watch for. One is going to be oil, and now this is going to be very unique for tomorrow because as we got this deal going through, and what happened now is that it was only 9 million barrels. So then remember, Mexico played an issue with it. They're actually walking away as a winner in all of this. But the total agreement is now 9 million barrels a day, but the demand drop from everything going on has been 36 million barrels a day. So what we need to watch now for is watch for oil prices to really paint a full picture of how bad is this from the demand issue, and then what were the Saudis and the Russia and all of that, what was that really contributing to everything. So we will get to see those cuts most likely will not be enough, and there is going to be a 1 month delay until they begin. So watch for any more developments with OPEC and oil and what we see in this next 30 days. But now too, we want to see how does the stock market react now without so much of this external influence on oil, and we want to see really what sort of rebound we see here. So that is going to be important, and that's what we're saying. The market's already crazy. Again, we're seeing everything already move around. So how this reacts tomorrow, you guys saw oil last week. That is going to be very important. Now, the next thing I would say is watch out for is people went outside. I don't know if this was just me here in SoCal. You let me know what you guys see, but it seems as if people are going outside, and it seems as if the stock market kind of reflected a lot of people's attitudes. We talked about this a few days ago with New York. They said they saw some flattening of the curve, and pretty much you're seeing people go outside. Watch what this does to the amount of cases that gets reported. It seems that people have loosened their standards in this lockdown standard. So I want to see how that plays out. And I'm kind of equating the two between investor sentiment and the lockdown sentiment, because this is now going to be crucial, because either the market and kind of society are going to be moving at the same level, or if we see the market go down now with kind of society relaxing, it'll show an inverse, or maybe the market was a leader. It's a little bit weird to think about, but what I'm saying here, especially coming into earnings, look at at the psychology of all of this and look at how now, it's already been 3-4 weeks since everything started to unfold, the first level of lockdowns before things started getting serious. So take into account how things have changed. And we've said this before, watch 1 week after they do stimulus, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Those are how you determine really the efficacy of anything in that nature. So watch all that. And then finally, bonds, gold, and the dollar. I think those are going to be very, very key, especially with where gold's at and all of that stuff. But this is probably going to be their slow period, meaning they probably might not start to move as much. Maybe gold might if gold follows the market, if the market goes up. But what I'm going to kind of expect here until the earnings are pretty much over or the earnings come out and they're forcing big moves with the company, this is going to be that opportunity for commodities and all of that to really move around and kind of diverge from what the market's doing. Again, if we do, and this is what we're watching out for, this is why even this week will be important with the banks. Even the next week, there's going to be a few more companies, but we need to see how the market takes earnings. How does the market respond? Does it get in this pre-earnings setup and not move as much? Is it very volatile? Do they just price high premiums on everything? Is it going to be iron condor season? These are some questions we have to ask, and that's why paying attention on the first level of earnings, there's going to be opportunity, sure, but what it tells us about some of these companies could help us profit a lot more. So that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. Right off the bat, I have a few different plays I want to make. One I will say right off of it is going to be Netflix. So they have earnings now. This is going to kind of be like the JP Morgan play, a little different. Netflix is a little hard to play, but you guys have seen Netflix. Imagine what's happened now with everything and what's going on. So they could make a lot of moves. They've held up their chart. I'll show you the chart. They look a little decent, but we saw what happened with Disney. Disney got a little bit of upside off of some of the reports, and then they came down a little bit. So we might see something with Netflix. So what I'm trying to do is if this week is bullish and they get bullish coming in and their earnings and have this pre-earnings run up, we'll get calls and flip those. Or if it starts to kind of sell off before earnings, we're going to sell the puts. But I'm looking to play this both ways. However, I'm going to see tomorrow. What I want to do is start positioning for the contracts that are for next week and even beyond that. Hopefully 2 weeks out, because they report in 1 week from now. So they don't report this week, they report next week. But this is where I'm saying we could kind of get a head start. And that's something you got to pay attention to for earnings, is what's going to happen as some of these bigger companies start reporting. Once some companies report, and depending on how they report, it's going to get rid of any opportunity that existed. The market is going to move pretty much all at once. So watch out for the first play I'm going to be looking out for tomorrow morning is Netflix. So bigger company with earnings. I'm zooming in on there. And then another one, I might do this one as a quick flip, try to see if we could flip some next week contracts, get them for free, and then get a free play into earnings. But UNH reports this week. So they're going to report in the morning, I think Wednesday or Thursday, but they could be good. And then one thing I like about UNH is where they're at right now. Remember, last week they had that run up with the whole Bernie Sanders dropping out and all that stuff. They usually have 2-3 day run ups. So we'll see. But again, and this is what sucks, we saw it with Disney. You're going to see this with companies, is that there's many reasons that we could like companies, but then there's going to be the cold hard facts of the underlying fundamental economic situation. So same thing with UNH. There could be stuff that could make them do good. They could have bullish, things coming into earnings, but at the end of the day, how much did they really lose from everything going on, or what are they expecting to lose, and what is their real risk? So that is a problem. That is what we have to watch out for. And then finally, the third play I'm going to be looking out for, we're already holding these. I'm going to decide if we average down because we got shorter term, but I still like the concept and the general idea. And don't forget about this. This was the play group that we talked about last week, and I'm still holding most of those plays, but Zoom, Baidu, PDD, and any of these Chinese companies. So I'm going to be watching Zoom again. I like where it's at whenever they have earnings. Again, I want to set up an earnings play with them, but I like Zoom. I like where they're at. And then finally, this week as well, you're going to get Wells Fargo. I have UNH on there twice. They report, and then Goldman Sachs. A lot of banks today or this week. So I would watch out for some of these if you want to play them. We're in the JP Morgan play. I'm going to be holding that play pretty much till the earnings itself. I will grab a put on JP Morgan when it comes down, or excuse me, the day before its earnings. But until then, going to just be holding the one call. We've taken most of the profits, and that is how we plan to do any of these plays. So even like UNH, I'm going to try to flip that tomorrow if I could get plays coming in there where we buy them, they go up in value. We're trying to play the IV run up. So as you get closer and closer to earnings, depending on what happens with the markets, the expectations, that should juice the contracts. Now, I will give a stern warning. We've tried this before, and this this is the problem. It kind of happens in waves. So this might be a wave before premiums shoot up, but if the premiums are already high and you try to buy a company before earnings and the premiums are already high, the reverse happens and the premiums actually will go down. So it's literally a coin toss when you're playing some of these earnings. So be careful. I like these plays. I'm going to be watching them, but I understand the risk, and this is how I'm going to kind of start zooming in. I don't really want to play anything unless it's going to have a specific event attached to it and playing the earnings so we know that it will move. So there's that. As far as everything else, don't forget about, again, any of the Chinese companies. Again, I haven't got JD. I'm going to watch them. Watch Baidu. I'm still in that play. And we covered those plays over the weekend. Same thing with Pinduoduo. They're holding up at an interesting spot. I mean, despite, some of these moves, they're still being decent. But, I think this trade will have some time. I mean, who knows what happens with earnings, but watch those. Then Coca-Cola, that's another one. And you guys will see I have a few different companies on here. Same thing even with Netflix. Coca-Cola reports in the next week. So watch out for them, because these are some of these earnings plays where you could play with a little bit of a head start. And we've seen, small amount of money scaling in. You could at least get something decent, especially if the market keeps moving a lot. And that is something we need to watch out for, is do we see persistent volatility? Do we see large movements with the stock market? That will kind of tell us something about, again, where we're at, especially in the earnings season. So watch Coca-Cola, UNH, like I said. Netflix, I really, really like. Another one, I think they report next week, same week as Netflix, is XLNX. So you guys remember XLNX? Didn't we play this the first time? I remember we had a pretty decent sized play with this and we hit them pretty good. But XLNX, they're decent, but they're related to the iPhones. You could kind of see, some companies held up a little bit better. There's XLNX, there's Netflix. You could see where they're at relative to their 100-day highs. So a lot of companies are beaten down, but XLNX looks a little bit weaker, so this might be a put position, but this is a company, chip maker. It's exposed to the bigger companies. It could move a lot, top to bottom. That's a 30% move right there, so it could move a lot. I know that they move with options, so this is going to be a play coming into earnings I'm going to keep my eye on. If you guys find any plays, call them out there. Watch Facebook as well, too. Facebook a little bit better. Again, they were coming off a weak earnings, and this is even related to Snapchat, so they're going to report, I think, in like 2 or 3 weeks, but we want to start watching them now, see where the prices are, and see how we come into that, because again, Facebook was coming off a pretty pivotal earnings last time, and where they end up will be very, very important. So watch them. Watch Nvidia as well too. Nvidia is a good example of what I was saying with the second waves. So like I said, coming into earnings, you could set up this week. Let's say we set up this week, and then a few of the bank stocks do good, and then next week Netflix does good. Then before you know it, everything will be up, and then the premiums got jacked up with it. Nvidia is one that could do that. So this might now be the time to do it. Usually the premiums on the stock have been really, really crazy, but Nvidia is another good one that could be good for setting up earnings. You're just going to need a lot of time. And then, like I said, Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs. So I'm still holding the JP Morgan. Goldman Sachs moves a lot. Contracts will be a little bit more expensive, but if you want to try one of the earning flips, I mean, this could be one of them. But again, you're going to get a lot of earnings companies coming up. So you don't have to force it, and really be very, very selective with the companies you're picking. And then finally, like we said, gold, UUP, and TLT. So here is gold. I like gold. I think it's at a great spot right now. So this is what I was even saying relative to the market, is that, gold is going to start going up. If the market goes up, gold should go with it. Or now we want to wait to see how does gold respond on a red day, and does gold keep going up? That is going to be very important. But now with those Mays, depending on how it moves, I'm going to either have to decide to either sell out of those Mays and roll over. We're probably going to have to decide that this week, or we keep kind of holding them. But you guys have heard me. I'm very more prone to wanting to take them. So I'm getting that upside that I was looking for. I'm going to have to ride that and sell into that. But as far as everything else, I'm still expecting these all to move slow. Still holding those TLT. Those August came down a little, I believe. Oh, wow. Yeah, those are down 30% now. So we're down $1,600 on that. But so still watching that. Still down a little bit, but I'm going to be holding TLT. I just like where it's at. And the thing from the Fed minutes, we were reading that. I still haven't gone over that. I really need to do that actually before tomorrow morning. But the key that they brought up was that the bond market really stopped functioning when the dollar was there. So pretty much if you get one of these is going to hit, either TLT or UUP. They both might hit, but really what I'm expecting is if the dollar kind of starts to normalize, TLT will normalize, and then vice versa. If the dollar starts going crazy, then TLT should fail, but then we should be able to profit off of UUP. But That is your Watchlist, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your Watchlist. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need your helmet on. I need the armor shining. I need you to control the balance. I need you to be selective with the plays. Do not get infected with the FOMO. This is the time for earnings. You can make some big changes. You could change your life for the good, maybe for the bad to lead you up to another good. Who knows? Either way, it's going to end up good. But you need to stay focused. You need to control the budget. You need to control the balance. And it's not about failing. If you miss it on this week, this month, you're going to come back again later. So it's all love, baby. It's all like work. The cult loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.